Welcome, everyone. My name is Greg Noe, and this is the American Dream Business Roundtable. I want to introduce my co-host, Kathryn Raaker, and we're here to talk about one of our favorite business topics, spouses and partners in business. Now, I know, Kathryn, your husband is involved in your business, and my wife is involved in my business, but it's slightly different in that your husband is involved in yours, but you're not involved in his.
That's right, I'm not.
And tell us a little bit about how that's been over the years.
Well, actually, he really wanted to support my television shows.
Right.
Back when we lived in New Jersey. And he started editing my radio shows. And I got into a partnership with a group of women. And it was constantly tension-filled.
Really?
So that when I moved back to Cincinnati, he said, I think you shouldn't have any specific partnerships. I think that you should do this on your own, and I'll support it. And so basically, he retired from one company and went to another. Okay. And he felt so strongly about it that he bought my first television camera.
Wow.
And actually, I used that camera for my first Born Before 64 show that was with Willie Nelson's daughter. So I filmed, actually a Timeless Performer kind of program. Okay. And I had learned cameras, but I had to learn that camera in 15 minutes to take with me because I was taping that show. I wasn't in front of it.
But your husband's been quite supportive of you in all of your efforts.
Extremely.
To this day?
Yeah, to this day. Not saying that we don't argue or discuss certain things, okay? But he's really talented at the technical end of the situation. He doesn't like to be on camera. My spouse, my wife, has the same apprehensions. But this weekend, he was.
He was?
He was. And we had someone else, Jason Dudas, who is one of our people that actually edits your shows and is very involved here at the station that we're at. And he actually filmed it.
Wow.
So Bill was on the other end of it, and he feels uncomfortable. He doesn't like that part of it.
Well, and I was sharing earlier my experience as I was seeking to find a new career. I had developed a tax practice working out of my basement, and half of the year I was doing that, and the other half of the year I was working as a contractor. And one day my wife came home, this is 20 years ago now, she was a nursing home executive, and she came home and said, Greg, I'm going to come and work with you from now on. And I'll tell her to this day, that was a really good idea for about 3 days. Because it allowed me to get caught up.
Can I ask you a question? Do you argue?
We used to. Now, not so much. We basically understand each other and have divvied up the roles so much that she knows the kinds of things that she's in charge of and the things that I'm in charge of. And now there was a time many years ago, probably 15 years ago now, where I took all of the management responsibilities away from her, and she will tell the story about how she was extremely upset with me for about 6 months. And then she came to me and said, Greg, that was the best decision you ever made. And so you have these kinds of things where initially your spouse doesn't appreciate what you're trying to accomplish, and but then later on they catch on. Not all businesses are that way, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to talk about this subject. One of the first clients I ever had, it was a welding business, and the wife she wasn't all that involved in the business, but she had access to the checking account. And so every time money came in, she was seeing, paying off the bills, going on vacation, and things like that. and the guy was seeing that new machine that would allow him to do this other service or whatever. And so they had this conflict constantly brewing about how to what to do with the funds that they had. So, they work through it, and most spouses do, but entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. It takes a lot of time, there's a lot of effort, a lot of hours spent without any money coming in sometimes. And it's great to have a spouse who can support you in financial ways, and sometimes in your business. And so we were able to work it out. And apparently you were able to work out these same issues with your husband. It's nice to have somebody financially being supportive, so you don't have to worry about those things while you're operating your business. Not everyone has that potential, though. And so what we want to talk about for the rest of the show are different kinds of relationships, team building. We want to talk about accountability partners, and what are the differences between a business coach and a business consultant and mentors, and which kinds of these helpers would be best for your kind of a situation. So let's take the first one, and I think we can talk about that a little bit. Did you talk about sweat
equity at all?
Not quite yet. I want to get into the accountability partners. Do you have somebody that may or may not be your husband, but somebody that keeps you on target,
on task? Right, on task. And it's actually not my accountant. It's actually one of my, it's actually Debbie Burkhart, who actually looks at everything. Well, she's actually does some of my bookkeeping. And we have, and another gal that I work with that does a lot of my writing for me, that's Pat. And those are the two people that, besides my husband, that I look to for guidance sometimes and mentoring. And they've helped me look at things differently and to change the way my focus may be. So, and I think that's important, don't you?
Yeah. Sometimes an accountability partner is somebody that you met in a class where you're learning about entrepreneurship. So this is not a long-term relationship. It doesn't have to be. It can be somebody that just gets you through. And we'll talk more about these different players, if you will, in a few minutes. But for right now, we need to take a break, and so we'll be right back.